It's been a long independence time, 74 years for India, and today it's time to recall the journey of India's freedom struggle. In 1757, the British Raj started with the defeat of Nawab of Bengal, and they continued conquering India for the next 100 years until Mangal Pandey broke the silence. With the introduction of Enfield rifles, soldiers were upset as they had to bite off the end of cartridges, which was made of cow and pig fat. This violated sentiments of Hindus and Muslims. So, eventually, on 1857, three regiments of army under Mangal Pandey started first revolt. This revolt was suppressed and Mangal Pandey was hanged to death. This incident was known as Sepoy Mutiny or Revolt of 1857. Rani Lakshmibai, the Queen of Jhansi, was one of the leading figures of 1857 rebellion and became a symbol of resistance to the British Raj for the Indian nationalists. In 1877, a Western system of education was introduced and new educated class of Indians emerged. This class of people found their jobs into businessmen, government officials, lawyers, teachers, etc. These people started protesting against the British discrimination. These protests led to the formation of INC, Indian National Congress, which helped a lot in the freedom struggle. Veer Savarkar and Lal Bal Pal were very famous idols to freedom fighters. The peaceful protesters like Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda started spreading the word to the people that everyone must be passionate about gaining freedom. After World War I, the Britishers imposed stricter legislations in India to curb the people. While the ray of hope was fading, a man appeared whom the country revered, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Gandhi became the undisputed leader of the freedom struggle. He advocated the policy of satyagraha and civil disobedience. He inspired millions to his path, and his freedom struggle vision was seen on the national level. On 13th April 1919, the Britishers led by General Dyer massacred hundreds of unarmed, peaceful protesting civilians in Amritsar, including women and children. This tragedy was known as Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. This triggered off nationwide hatred for Britishers. In response, Gandhi launched non-cooperation movement. In the movement, Gandhi urged the people to refuse to pay taxes, return the British titles and honours, etc. This became a great trouble for the British government. This movement was brought down by Gandhi because of the famous Chora Chori incident. On March 12, 1930, Gandhiji embarked on a mission of about 400 kilometers from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi, famously known as Dandi March. At Dandi, Gandhi himself broke the law by making salt from seawater. With this, Gandhi declared that I am shaking the foundations of the British Empire. The Britishers responded by making widespread arrests and firing on the crowds. Gandhiji was sent to jail a number of times. Armed rebellion against the Britishers continued to grow in several parts of India. Leaders like Bhagat Singh led acts of violence against the Britishers, but soon the revolutionary activities died down and many rebel leaders joined political parties. And with time, many movements came and encouraged the Indians to be passionate about freedom. The Quit India movement was launched by Mahatma Gandhi 1942 in protest against sending Indians to fight in the World War II under the Union Jack without consulting Indians. Nationwide protest began. Big leaders were arrested and firing as well as air bombing was done to suppress the protest. And the struggle ended in 15th August 1947 when India was declared independent and secular state with a sad and violent partition from a newly formed Pakistan.
Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister, said with moving eloquence,
"Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.